what you really got there is a long-term bond. That's the way we look at it. And what tends to happen is the money bypasses the tenant, the rental, and it comes straight to you. And yes, you can. Welcome team, it is that time of the week. Doesn't the week fly by? It is time for Q&As, all about property. And if you're joining us for the first time, then my name is Cam Devady. I'm the founder of Premier Property, an investor developer. And over the last 30 years, building up on experience, I really want to help and assist and answer your questions, whatever they are, no silly question in property. And they can also be very technical questions as well. And I have a number of them here right now. So let's jump straight into them. So these questions are from our Premier Property community. And one of the questions I've got here right now is all about JV. So I'm going to answer this one. And we've got questions, technical questions as well, about heat pumps, all about building regulations as well. So let's jump into it. So the first question I'm going to be answering here is from Paul. Paul is looking to do a JV. And he's asking about the 1+1 JV, like we call it at Premier Property. So what is a 1+1 JV? Well, in fact, technically, it's not a JV. However, what we're doing is we're creating something that formats just like a JV. What are you on about, Cam? Let me explain. I'll explain. So what this means is, now this works really well where you've got a community, where you've got trusted people, where you've got to know people. So this would work really well for friends, family, people of long standing, people that you've known for a while, and people on the same page, like us, like-minded people. So in effect, what the 1+1 JV is, it's a way for you to actually get a result, both for yourself and both for your JV investor, let's call it. So what this means is so how we do this is the investor has a company, and you also have a company. Now, of course, I can't give you tax advice, but I'm just sharing with you exactly what we are doing. And it's a great way of doing a form of a JV. So, like what I say, your investor has a company, you have a company. And what you do is, you become the person who instigates all of this. So you become the finder, you become the person who manages the project. Maybe you would help them with the process of the financing in terms of dealing with the mortgage brokers and so on. And you may decide to project manage that as well with the contractors. So in all, they've actually got a property where you've done the whole of the process for them, start to finish, and it's their property. So they buy that in their company, they fund it, they do it's their company. Yeah? You get my point, right? Then what they do for you is they will do the same thing, but now they will fund your project, which is in your company. So the funding comes from your investor, the deals come from you. So literally it's a 1+1 where you're both getting a benefit. The properties that you buy in these companies are like for like. So that makes sense. And what I tend to do is, I'll just get the investors to pick and choose. So, this is the property we're buying, this is the property we're buying. They're more or less in the same price range. And like I say, you're working with amicable people. So what happens there is, in effect, you end up with, if you're following me here, you end up with two properties, one for the investor and one for you. However, you don't have to do any transfers or any of that because one is in their company and one is your company. So there's a nice clean exit anyway. And what usually ends up happening is when you do a JV of this form, then you end up doing more, in my experience. It just happens naturally because it's nice and clear and the system really works. So in a nutshell, Paul, that's how we do it. There are more technicals to that as well, of course, and we can discuss these further as we answer more of these questions over time, right? So, Paul, hope I've explained that one for you there. Right, jumping into the next question. Next question here is from Roland Carpenter, and all about gas boilers and asking about replacing gas boiler. And so Roland's replacing gas boiler in his property, and he's thinking about heat pumps, and he's asking, what kind of grants are available to you? How can you how can you mitigate the costs? So good question by Roland. So I'm going to answer this one. By the way, there's a lot of grants that are available to you right now as property investors. You just got to search for them. And if you would like me to comment on some more of these, if you're interested in more grants and so on, then do comment below here and just let me know, and I'm happy to share more with you over the coming weeks. And if you're watching this on YouTube, there's that bell icon, and if you haven't already, you can just click on that and just make sure that you get the latest notifications, because I'm doing a number of these videos, and if you're liking them, if you're liking the sincerity, you're liking their answers, then come and join us, And I would like to hear your comments, so if you would like to know more about grants, then do comment below, whether you're watching it on Facebook or whether you're watching this on YouTube, and I will share more info about specific grants that are available for investors right now as well. Okay, so Roland is asking about these heat pumps. So Roland, one of the things that you can be considering when it comes to heat pumps is having a look at joining the Renewable Heat Incentive Scheme. The Renewable Heat Incentive Scheme. Just have a look at that one. Feel free to go online and just have a little read up about that, and more will become apparent. This is a great scheme. Specifically, it allows air source heat pump grants. So that's one that you can check in on. There's a number of others like what I say. So that's Roland there. Nice, short, sharp answer that one. Moving forward, let's now discuss Andy Jones' question. And Andy Jones is back here asking about, what was he saying? So Andy's saying, by the way, as you notice, I'm reading this off the cuff. I haven't actually they're not predefined answers. It is literally just off the cuff. So Andy's asking, how should you approach someone speculatively when you see a potential development site? What should you say to them on the first contact? Now that's a way to find deals. So let's answer Andy's question. And by the way, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel and you do want to subscribe, then you can do this right now. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to take a little sip of water, and how about doing it? And then I'm going to answer the question. Okay, so Andy, the biggest mistake that many people make, investors make when they're actually looking for deals, is they go up to the person, or they write to them, or send a leaflet, and they will say, do you want to sell your property? Now, to be honest, when someone says that to somebody, it kind of really, it isn't said in the right way, right? So people can misconstrue that the way that's said. So one of the ways that we do this at Premier is that you are always helping that individual in terms of what they're doing, right? You've got to be in their shoes. You've got to see how you can make a match. So what I'm saying specifically is you ask them, rather than do you want to sell your property, and here's the key points, you might want to write this down. You ask them, would you like to capitalize on your property by recuperating the liquid that you've got in it right now? I'm looking for a property. Great time for you to capitalize. Remember, we didn't say sell. And you take it from there. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can do this. So that's one way there. Feel free, Andy, to try that one, test it out. And, the response you will find is going to be much better than, do you want to sell your property? That's Andy's there. Next, moving forward, we have Sonu. So Sonu is asking here. So Sonu Patel, she's thinking of letting a 3-bedroom house to a lady who is a full-time carer for her 11-year-old son. The estate agent who is managing the property has shortlisted the application. Seems all fine. There's also a guarantor there as well. But she's just wanted a second opinion, says Sonu. What are your thoughts? Well, Sonu, the thing is, when we are renting properties and when the council is actually paying through benefits and so on, is actually paying for your tenant, what you've really got there is a long-term bond. That's the way we look at it. And what tends to happen is the money bypasses the tenant, the rental, and it comes straight to you. And yes, you can. Now, when you think of it like this, and you think of it someone like this, a good normal person, she's looking after her child, she's focused on a home, chances are that you got a tenant that's going to stay there for a longer time. Chances are you got a tenant who's going to treat it like a home, and the chances are that you are going to have low voids and you are going to have an easier life because that money comes straight to you, if that makes sense. The key is, though, the money does need to bypass the tenant and come straight to you. And I love the fact that you've got a guarantor there, so belts and braces. So from my point of view, that's a great tenant. I would suggest you have a conversation with her, or just get a view of the feel of the tenant from your letting agent, and just secure the deal. And it's a win-win situation because your tenant's winning and you're winning as well. And brilliant. I love what you're doing there. So Sonu, hope that helps answer your question. So there we have that one. Moving forward, we have another question here. Final question from Palashi. Palashi's got a very detailed yet a very simple question that I'm going to answer very quickly. Yes, and I can do very quickly. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, then feel free to do it right now. And you can click on the bell icon, as you're aware, right? So Plashi is asking about kitchen doors. So she's asking for a kitchen. She wants to put a door in the kitchen. There isn't a door there at the moment. Does she actually need permission from the council to add that door to the kitchen? Or does she not? What does she do? Well, Palashi, the thing is, with these sort of internal doors and these types of projects where you've got minor changes, you're adding a door, you don't really need to get any form of planning or any form of council involved in that. You can just do that. So simple, straight answer, because that's what it is. It is simple and straight. You can add that door in there and you're absolutely fine. So team, I hope you enjoyed today. It's Cam Devady signing off for another week. I'll see you here same time next week, helping you to take your property investing to the next level. I'll see you soon.